What's up YouTube, Happy Dueling wargames, bringing you a test hand video for the Phantom Knight Orcust deck profile as requested. So what we're going to do is 2 go in first and 2 go in second and show you exactly what this deck can do. So after a decent cut and shuffle, our first hand of 5 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very interesting kind of start on this one. So of course you would normal summon the Armageddon Knight and use Armageddon Knight's effect. There we go. So what you would then do is I would personally send your Bombard, where are you? There is one somewhere. There we go. Send the Bombard, the effect of Bombard to banish itself and special summon down your Harp Horror. You would then link these two guys together and go into your Galatea. Then use Galatea's effect to spin the Bombard back to deck and set the field spell. This is your more important one. You could go for the draw and kind of gamble it that way if you wanted to. If you did do that, you'd be putting yourself at quite a risk. This is probably more important, in my opinion, is to have that on play. So set this and then obviously activate it. I'll just double check. I'm pretty sure you can because it doesn't say it needs to be set. Yeah, it doesn't say that it needs to be set in the spell or trap card zone, so this kind of counts as the field spell zone. Then of course you have the ability to banish the Harp Horror and special summon. I don't think Bombard, you can only use the effect of Bombard once per turn, and I don't believe it can special summon itself. No, it can't. So then you can bring out your skeleton off of your Harp Horror. You can then obviously activate Einsalz. If you wanted to, you could link into Longrusu, but it wouldn't. I mean, it wouldn't be helpful to you because you would link into Longrusu and bring out, where are you? Your Longrusu. Now, of course, this then points to 2 zones your opponent controls, so they will be linked, so his effect will be live if they put them in any of those zones. You could then use Skeleton and bring back Galatea, and then that allows you to have, obviously you've got the Galatea effect during your next turn, but you don't really want that. You're kind of better off using the Longrusu effect because you've got 2 to shuffle back on that one. Of course, if you wanted to, you could bring back just the 1 off of Skeleton and go into the Orcust if you wanted to. This just obviously points to 2 monsters. It can't be destroyed by battle or card effect. You can target 3 of your banished machine monsters, shuffle them into deck, and if you do, the attack and defense of all linked monsters your opponent currently controls becomes 0 and their effects are negated. Alternatively, you could go into Bomber Dragon if you wanted to. This kind of gives you a bit more play because then what you would do is you'd link these 2 guys together using Galatea as a 1 and then Lingarisu as the 3. Go into the Bomber Dragon, pass your turn, and then during your turn, if your opponent normal summons or anything, you would use Orchestrated Einsalz to send your Skeleton. You would then banish, chucking the Skeleton off the board completely. You would then banish the Skeleton to bring back your Longrusu. Put him there. That would then trigger the nuke the board effect of Bomber Dragon. But then if you, because you've got the field spell in play, you would chain link to Longrusu, target one of your Skeletons and your Harp Horror, shuffle them back into deck to then get rid of their linked monster or their monster in the extra monster zone. And then of course, Topological Bomber Dragon will go off, nuking the board, but keeping Longrusu there because it's linked. It can't be destroyed by card effects. So that then gives you a bit more protection. If you were to go with the Galatea, you would just set yourself up for the next turn play. So if you didn't want to go from that, but you would lose your Galatea because, of course, it can be destroyed by card effect. Either way, that's kind of like the plays you've then got. If you wanted to, you could then go into your next turn. So I'm just going to shuffle the deck up and we'll play through this turn just so you can kind of see how the board extends from this. Let's say we've successfully nuked the board, cleared our opponent's monster out of the extra monster zone. If you do it at the right time without any disruption from your opponent, you should have caused them a huge amount of issues. Draw for your turn. You then would then go normal summon, oh, not Lingarisu, you want Orcust. You would then normal summon the Bombard, link Bombard and Lingarisu into Orcust. That would trigger Bomber Dragon to blow up, but obviously Orcust is then protected. You would banish your Bombard to special summon your Skeleton, but don't put it to a zone. It points to... actually, no, you could do. I don't think Bomber Dragon... Is it hard once per turn? No, it's not hard once per turn. So yeah, you'd probably want your skeleton to be then nuked off of your bomber dragon. And then if you wanted to, you'd banish the bomber dragon, go into Longrusu. Obviously now they're all kind of protected, they ain't going anywhere. You could, of course, with the skeleton, if you wanted to, try and link up into more monsters, but you really don't need to, because straight away you've got 6k there, and then 2.5 there, and you've nuked their board during their turn with the bomber dragon, and you got rid of their extra monster zone with your Longrusu. If they were managed to get another extra monster zone together, you would spin 2 back, or, of course, you could do the Orcustron, spin 3 back, turn them into a 0, and then you're crashing through into the game anyway. I think is Bomber Dragon original? I don't use Bomber Dragon as often as I probably should. Yeah, so even if you turn it to 0 and their effects negated, this would then kill it, and then burn them for the original damage. So that's a nice little kind of loop round. That's why Bomber Dragon is so important in this deck, and it makes a lot of sense. Okay, so now moving on to our second test stand going first. Like you saw, that was kind of like the best scenario, being able to have the ability of Longrusu with the Bomber Dragon, so you're getting like a torrential tribute basically during your opponent's turn, and then with the Longrusu you're getting rid of their extra monster zone. It gives you a lot of place to move around, so it shows you how important the field spell is. Anyway, so now moving on to our second test hand going first. So a shuffle and a cut, and our opening hand of 5 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pretty good. Obviously we've got the field spells, which is what we need. You could then activate your Orcust return, send in Bombard, draw in 2. Oh, if only you weren't a hard once per turn. Then of course you can banish the Bombard, special summon out the skeleton. Now, I haven't used boots for a long time. Special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon Phantom Knights of Boots once per turn this way. You can banish this card from the graveyard, add 1 Phantom Knight spell trap from your deck. Only use the effect once per turn. So you would normal summon this one, then use this boots to special summon itself. Straight away, you've got a Longrusu play if you want to, but let me just see if we're doing this right. If we go, if we link these two together and go into our Galatea, use Galatea's effect to spin back the Bombard and put your Orchestrated Iron Signs there. Then link these two together and go into your Longrusu. You can then use Skeleton's effect, banish itself, bring out your Galatea, then link your Galatea and your Longrusu together for your Bomber Dragon. And then that's pretty much all you need. You've had to go through everything to do so. Of course, you do have the ability of the boots, should you want to, which would then get you the Fog Blade, so you can banish boots. It's a shame they're not in this deck. It's a shame they're not a machine. If they're a machine in this deck, my god. So then you would set the Fog Blade. If you wanted to, you could set the trap that then turns into a monster. Entirely up to you, but you wouldn't need to. And then again, if your opponent does absolutely anything, you would send Skeleton, banish Skeleton, bring back Longrusu. Don't know why there's 2 Longrusus in grave. And then that will trigger the exact same events as before. So let's say they do something, we're going to send the Skeleton, banish the Skeleton, Longrusu as chain link, so Bomber Dragon chain link 1, Longrusu chain link 2, spin 2 back, clear their extra monster zone, nuke their normal board, shuffle the 2 in. You've got Fog Blade to protect, disrupt, do whatever you want with. Now we haven't got as good of a game as, because we haven't got as many Hop Horrors or Orcust in the graveyard, but we draw for turn. Oh, wow, okay, cool. That changes everything. So we're going to play through this one as well. Activate the Orchestrated Return, send the Skeleton, draw 2. Not the best, but by no means the worst, because then what you do is you'd Foolish Burial, send Harp Horror. You could obviously send one of the Phantom Knights Cloak if you wanted to, but I'm just going for the guaranteed kill right now. So banish Horror. Make sure what you bring out does not go in a link, because you want to be using this right now. So we put that there. Link those two together. Go into your Orcustron. Then use Skeleton's effect to go into Longrusu. Again, that would trigger Bomber Dragon should you want it to. Let me just double check this. No, why isn't it World Legacy Orcust? I don't know. World Legacy 1. Then you've got Longrusu is now live. Should you need to clear a linked monster, which with Bomber Dragon pointing, they could have put anything there. If not, you haven't got the ability for Orcustron just yet. If Bombard could bring out, you know, like a World Legacy, you'd be in amazement. Yeah, so that's kind of it then. So you could do the Longrusu, put 2 of these back should you need to, but by the chances of the Bomber Dragon, you haven't got anything linked on your opponent's board. Attack the Bomber Dragon, burn them for its original attack, then 3k and 25. That again is another game for you. So that's pretty much the standard board. The difficulty comes in doing that board going second, because there's a lot more pressure to kind of do that. Your opponent's probably got more of an established board, so it's all about breaking their board, which is what we're going to show that they can do now. Of course, you can go the Phantom Knight route and go into Rusty, should you want to be focusing more on that as well. Okay, so now on to our first test hand going second. So decent shuffle and good old cut. Let's see what we've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Interesting. You can gamble it all straight away without sending anything. Go with your Orchestrated Return, get rid of the Bombard and doing your play that way. But what we're going to do is we're going to do Armageddon Knight to guarantee the play, and we're going to send Harp Horror, banish the Harp Horror, bring out our Skeleton. There we go. Because then what we can do is we can link these guys together. Go into your Galatea, use Galatea's effect, well activate the field spell, use Galatea's effect, spin back the Harp Horror and set the Iron Sights. Then that way we're guaranteeing we're not going to draw into something that, you know, we don't really want. There we go, shuffle that up. Then you can activate your Orchestrated Return, get rid of your Bombard and draw in 2. Not really of help to us massively. The Bombard's pretty good because you would banish the Bombard, bring out your Horror. We've got the Skeleton that can do some more for us, so we can link these two together, go into our Longrusu. Obviously, you would now control where Longrusu points to within reason. So you could then banish your Skeleton to bring back your Galatea, and then use Longrusu's effect to spin 2 back and clear off one of the linked monsters that it points to, or whatever is of more danger to. Alternatively, before you do that Longrusu effect, what was banished? I think it was Skeleton and Harp, wasn't it? Ideally, before you do that, what you could do is you could then link these two into Bomber Dragon, then banish. Oh no, we've already done the Skeleton effect. Ignore me, we wouldn't do that. You could then use your World Legacy Succession, bring back the Longrusu, still don't use its effect first time. That would then trigger Bomber Dragon, nuking the main monster board, chain effect because you're under Babel, put the 2 back in, that then gets rid of their monster in the link zone. And then of course you could attack with Bomber Dragon. Obviously if they've still got a monster in play, then Bomber Dragon of course will burn them. That would then save the Longrusu, so you would then do the Longrusu effect first. If you feel that, for example, if your opponent had a 2500 monster, you would attack it with Bomber, then burn them for 25, so in total they've taken 3k direct there. Then you attack them with Longrusu for 25, they've then taken a 5k hit. Alternatively, if you do the Longrusu effect, that's if you do the Longrusu effect first. If you do the Longrusu effect first now, you're going in for a total of 5-5, so it's a 500 difference. But then of course during your opponent's turn, if they normal summon or anything, you go into Ironhizer, you'd go for Skeleton, you'd then banish Skeleton. You've got Harp that you can banish as well if you wanted to. You can banish Skeleton, bring back the Galatea. And then you banish Harp, and you could do Bomber Dragon's effect twice. And then, of course, you'd have 2 engraved to spin back off the Lingrusu as well. And then you got Called by the Grave to give them even more issues. So it wasn't the OTK, but it certainly did, or would have caused them huge amounts of issues, because you would have had the ability to board wipe them at least once, clear out their linked monster, revive the Lingrusu, and then, of course, set yourself up for the next turn. The only thing that really hurts this deck is if they were to like MST, Twin Twister, or find a way of getting rid of the field spell. That causes huge amounts of issues, because this deck really relies on that. Okay, so now moving on to our last test hand. Last test hand going second. And let's see what we can do. So decent shuffle and a decent cut. And our hand of 6 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not bad, not too bad. Crown's not really that important, but of course we want Harp Horror engraved, so we're going to activate Orchestrate Return. Draw 2. Oh, Armageddon Knight. Hello. Normal summon the Armageddon Knight. Armageddon Knight's effect. To send Skeleton. Banish. No, let's say Skeleton. Banish Harp. Bring out Bombard. It's the only one we haven't used right now. Bring out Bombard. Link these two together into Galatea. Now obviously we're going to go for the kill, I think, on this one. There's no reason not to. Galatea's effect, spin that back. Just to set the Iron Sizer, because then if they were to normal summon or anything this turn, then we've got, we can extend our plays a little bit more that way. We could allure to see if we draw into a Orcustron. That would then give us a bit more to, not an Orcustron, an Orcust. You could then banish your Skeleton, bring out your Bombard. That will then let you link up into, I want to kind of keep the Skeleton, to be honest, but I suppose we can get rid of it now. Bring back the Bombard. Link, before we link that, let's go Destrudo. Target the Bombard to bring out Destrudo. And then we can put the World Legacy Crown to a zone this points to. We're then going to link these guys together and go into our Lingrusu. Set the Call by the Grave. Let's gamble with the Allure of Darkness. Oh, no, Allure of Darkness failed. We could have played it safe and kept these two in hand if we wanted to, and kind of gone at it that way. That was just entirely just, at our push play. Now you could have kept the Bombard if you wanted to and used the Destrudo, but you would have got the exact same effect anyway. If you want to push this further forward, you could of course go into the Destrudo and then use your Destrudo and your Lingrusu and go into your Bomber Dragon. That would then clear your main monster zone, because Lingrusu have cleared the extra monster zone. Entirely up to you on that way. Otherwise, you kind of want to end on a bomber. Do as much damage as you possibly can. Then link these two away and go into your Orcustron. Not Orcustron, sorry. Your Bomber Dragon. Pass your turn. You will be sacrificing Crown, but this gives you a negation should you need to. So you activate the negation, get rid of that first. Send a Skeleton off of Iron Salts, or try to send a Skeleton off of Iron Salts. They try to negate it. As long as it's from the extra deck, I believe it is. Crown can then stop it. Then banish your Skeleton because you've got the field spell in play. Bring out your Lingrusu. Lingrusu would then chain link 2, spin these back. Bomber would nuke the board. So they'd go back to your deck. Let's say we've activated Call by the Grave to stop any hand traps or anything like that. Pass to our turn, draw our turn. Harp Horror, not the best but not the worst, because you would normal summon your Harp Horror. Link this and this into Orcustron. That would then trigger Bomber again to nuke the board. Orcustron is protected. Banish your Harp Horror. Special summon a Skeleton from deck. Destrudo goes back to the bottom of the deck, by the way. Where is he? So he'd go there. Banish Harp Horror, bring out little skeleton. Trigger Bomber again, nuke the skeleton. Skeleton then banishes, brings out Longrusu. Longrusu's effect, if they've got anything that is linked, obviously Bombers point to one thing. Spin those two back. They would go there. And then you just go ham. That's game there already, and this is your second turn. So they can certainly set up a very, very disruptive first turn board, in my opinion. I mean, being able to get into Bomber quite consistently going first, and then the ability to quick plays. So if you were facing Orcust, oh, I keep knocking the camera. Try and take out their field spell first. That is what they rely on. You take out their field spell, they're seriously going to struggle. Obviously, if you stop them banishing altogether, then they're in big, big trouble. But take out their field spell is their main kind of point of call, and work it that way. But that is it for the Orcust test hand video. I hope you found this useful. I hope you found it helpful. Like I said, I'm not the best at this deck. Rob is probably a lot better than me, but he wasn't available to do this video. But I certainly enjoyed it. It's a relatively easy deck to kind of pick up. I've got the basic understanding of the Orcust, and as you can see, I went kind of Orcust Turbo on this sense. These are the 4 main extra deck monsters that you need, and then the rest of the deck, and it's all relatively cheap as well. But like I said, I hope this helped. I hope this gives you a couple of ideas. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and until next time, guys, as always, happy dueling. What's up, YouTube? Thanks for watching that video. I hope you liked it. If you did, hit that like button. And of course, don't forget to hit that big red subscribe button in the bottom left-hand corner and the notification bell so you don't miss out on anything. We've got more deck profiles, duels, pack openings, and many more Yu-Gi-Oh! Videos coming up for you all year round. So don't forget to stay tuned for all of that. Thanks, and as always, guys, happy dueling.